Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Deep Six Pro Wrestling Podcast Midweek Mashup. How are you guys all doing out there? Whoever's listening or about to listen, and I hope you guys are doing awesome in the middle of this quarantine. And I am joined tonight by M from Level 1 Games in New Jersey, residing in Manhattan. I got it right this time. And Randy Zelia from backsportspage.com.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that.
How are you guys all doing
Thank you
today?
for having us. Oh, we're good. I'm good. I don't know about Randy. How are you, Randy?
I'm doing all right, baby. Look, haircut, still surviving through the quarantine. So let's rock and roll. AEW was good tonight, so let's talk about it.
Listen, I need a haircut bad. This is ridiculous. So I am a little jealous of you right now. But anyway, we won't talk about hair. That could get a little out of control.
Exactly.
Especially when M takes his hat off. But,
I was being so good.
Anyhow,
So good.
I'm jealous of you guys.
We had a. Please listen. You can take it. You can take it. I'll buzz it and give it to you. I almost had it.
God, it's so easy right now.
we are coming off of a pretty good Dynamite. We're actually seeing some build to the Double or Nothing pay-per-view that will be happening next Saturday night, May 23rd, which I am thoroughly looking forward to. And tonight we started off pretty hot. We had Archer and Jake the Snake Roberts come into the ring. They started the show. And cutting a pretty good promo. Jake can cut a promo. Let me tell you, he's still got it. Do I really want to see him out there? That's neither here or there, but he cuts a good promo, and he's getting heat on not only himself and Archer as well. We hear the before I get into the discussion with you guys, we hear the engine revving in the background. It sounded like a motorcycle to me, but it was Cody Rhodes' F-150. He gets out, enters the arena, and a brawl between Archer and Cody ensues, which I thoroughly loved, and I want to see more. What did you guys think?
Definitely want to see more on that. It was nice and physical, and that's the stuff I like. So it was a good way to start Dynamite, in my opinion. And what do you think, Randy?
I liked it, and I'll tell you why I liked it. It made Archer look a little vulnerable. Like last week, we were talking about where they were going to go with this rivalry and whether Cody's going to have a chance. And we kept on saying, are they going to put Cody over? Are they going to put Cody over on this big monster? That's the thing. And you know the psychology game of this. The big monster, David versus Goliath, and Jake's knocking out of the park. It's just everyone has to understand it's not going to be 1994 Jake the Snake Roberts. It's 2020 Jake the Snake Roberts with the crutch, and seeing that snake last week was pretty cool. But he's supposed to be the garnish on the steak on this point. He is not the main feature of it. Archer is supposed to be the show stealer in this one.
Yeah, I agree with you there. But you know what? Having Jake there speak, and like you guys know, I love Jake the Snake, and he's such a talent when he gets the stick. And so having him there, I can't complain. Where they're going to go with him is what I'm looking forward to seeing.
Well, with you saying that too, is the problem with all of Archer, like, is he managing Archer, or is the problem with Cody with Jake? And so when that's done with, is he still going to be around? Is this a short-term thing? So that's a question that really has to be answered. Obviously, we'll find that out a couple of weeks when this whole thing comes to a pass, because Jake came out and said it was Cody that was taking his share of the pie. So it's be interesting to see where the whole thing goes.
I think Jake would be around just a little bit, and as announced, he's going to be in a confrontation, one-on-one, face-to-face in the ring next Wednesday night with Arn Anderson. So that would be a pretty interesting exchange. Hopefully, they don't touch or fight, because that will look pretty awful. But I would definitely intrigued on the verbal exchange.
If this was
take place.
If this was 1990, I'd be so excited.
Exactly. But listen,
or 89.
It gives a chance for Jake to speak, and that's always been a treat every week. Yeah, exactly. Every week he has spoken. We've been treated to that old school a promo that he cuts that just you don't see that anymore. So I'm excited. Like I said, it's intriguing to see the possibilities of where they take the storyline or what they do with him. I honestly have no clue where they're going to go with it, but it's something I'm looking forward to. I mean, I will tell you the truth. When that snake came out last week, I popped. I was like, wow, this is Jake the Snake from the 90s. This is awesome. And as long as he doesn't do it consistently or every week,
make it special, baby.
Yeah, make it special. Let us wait for it. Let us want to see it. Like I said, I have no problem seeing him.
Moving on, we have Best Friends versus Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. They're building a feud. There's a couple different layers to what's going on. Best Friends with the win. Chuck Taylor with a nice little spike pile driver to end the match. What we have going on the outside is MJF gets a shot in on Jungle Boy as they're building to their match at Double or Nothing next week. And then we see Wardlow. He gets a little shot in on Marco Stunt. Poor guy. But and then another thing that was going on, later announced, Ray Phoenix versus Orange Cassidy. We see Ray Phoenix from behind on the entrance attack Orange Cassidy, knocking him out. And this came about as the match went on. Before that match ended, and that's setting up a match with them two, which I believe is next Wednesday. So
yes.
I'm definitely looking forward to that. What did you guys think of this? I enjoyed the match.
It was
There
good.
was a lot going on, a lot of layers of storylines.
Yeah,
being intertwined here.
You could look at it like an onion. We had so many layers, like you put it, and they were all intertwined storytelling. This is what I enjoy about wrestling. Sometimes is that there was a lot there, but it was simple. This person's hitting that person. This sets it up for this week. Then 2 weeks, you have these two people fighting. And that's what we need to see. I mean, don't put the same people together every week. Keep it fresh. Keep the rivalries going, but let it lead somewhere. This is how you tell stories. And again, I had no problem with the way this happened. And it was a very, very good match. Like, it was a match that I couldn't take my eyes off of. Both teams are extremely talented. What do you think, Grant?
I like this match for the one reason of when we first started watching AEW, we looked at the Best Friends as a comedy act, and now they are a serious contender. They sort of grew through the ranks like Darby Allin did, and you just want to keep watching them because you enjoy what they're doing, not only because they're a fun act, you want to do the hug, Orange Cassidy's involved, but you're also invested in their tag matches. And look, the Jurassic Express has a little bit of a shelf life on how far you can go with them. Whereas eventually, where the Best Friends will eventually down the road, you can go different places, maybe split them up. Or since there are three of them are a unit, you can split them up into single matches. I thought this match was exactly what it needed to be, because right now you're building the Best Friends up to possibly be a contender later on down the road. Because sooner or later, M's going to get what he wants and have that Hangman Page turn. And you need to have. And you need to have a solid tag team there to defend the belts. And I think Trent has really stepped out and been the star of that trio, even though the crowd loves Orange Cassidy. I don't think they're going to make any type of moves like that, though, until they actually have a crowd back in the arena, though.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. Let the crowd get there and then bring out your big guns. Whet our appetite now. Keep us engaged, but definitely hit us with the hard stuff when we're all able to be there.
Yeah, and I agree with that 110%. And that's the way you have to do it at this point. Like, I think for all the shows that are doing empty arena right now, they're just throwing stuff against the wall to see what sticks and to see what the chemistry in the ring would be. I think AEW having the wrestlers ringside and being able to have a little bit of crowd noise has helped the presentation of the product, whereas you had total emptiness on the other shows. I think that
AEW has been hitting a home run the whole entire time with the empty arena.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, they own this lockdown. They really do.
Yeah.
They perfected it. Feels good to watch it. and you don't feel alone and isolated. If you watch all the other shows, it's an empty arena. It's just two people going at
Too
it.
much, too
Yeah,
much
too much
open
silence.
air of no sound. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
silence.
Yeah.
You really can't have that. And I notice it even more as a musician, the way we do things, the way we go into our songs and what have you, even during like announcements and stuff like that, we keep our music going.
exactly.
So this is like we encourage like sound the whole way. It keeps people into it. So as a musician, I noticing the dead sound right away, and I don't like it. In AEW, even with 5 people out there, are
Exactly.
doing much better job than
Just
what
just have
WWE
some
together.
noise, keep the ambience going. It's so important. And in a match like that, I noticed that they also had more people in the crowd this week, a little off on the hard camera side, and yeah, there was more noise. It felt
It was
alive.
dark in there too.
Yeah, and it
You
felt
couldn't really
alive.
see.
But
Yeah,
you don't feel alone. And in these times when a lot of us are alone at home watching this, that's the last thing you want to feel. You want to feel connected to humanity, and that's how you do it. Just have a couple of people screaming in the background. That's all you need.
And I know we go a little off topic by asking this question, but in that sense, do you guys feel because there's been a lack of crowds at all the shows, but this one has a little bit more crowd, little more crowd noise? Do you have more of a problem doing some cinematic matches and doing some cinematic features on the show because if you're not going to have the crowd reaction anyway, you can do a little bit more heavy producing. Do either of you guys have a problem with that?
as long as it's not overdone.
Yeah, and I think that it will get to that point where it's overdone, and that's like I've told Wayne this a million times. That's my big fear, is that's what's going to destroy wrestling for us. Wrestling,
Overexposure.
yeah, wrestling is what we just watched. That was wrestling. That was a wrestling show. We
Yeah,
watched.
here's another example. Here's another example. We were talking about it on the Money in the Bank post show. Not to get off tangent, but really quick, we were talking about how the first team that they brought out was New Day, and me and Cooper had the same reaction. Like, oh, like we're kind of over it. That's how you
Yeah,
know that gimmick has had its run. It's been overexposed. It's done unless they come up with something new, turn them heel, throw them on commentary. I don't know,
do something.
but overexposure kind of it runs out the gimmick and runs out the program quicker.
Yeah.
I like a good slow burn, and I like seeing wrestlers off every now and then, every other week, what have you. Moving on, we had Fatal 4-Way tonight with the women. 3 of my favorite women were in this match, actually.
Yes.
Anyway, we had Penelope Ford and Chris Stanlander. Where's she been? I guess she's been floating around in space. Versus Britt Baker and Sheeta for a shot against Nyla Rose. Great back and forth. Sheeta gets the win. Britt is distracted. Britt is distracted because she's giving Statlander the lockjaw, not once but twice,
with the glove on.
With the glove on. So
the
the
glove
following
on.
COVID-19 standards,
Yeah.
and this was really good. In the same match, they developed another feud with Britt Baker and Statlander, and also progressing the feud. Sheeta won. She's now the number 1 contender against Nyla Rose. What did you guys think of this Fatal 4-Way? And I liked Penelope's. I guess we can call it backwards Hurricane Rana,
Yeah.
Poison Rana.
Listen, I've always said Penelope, she's very talented. I mean, in due time, give her some time to marinate there in AEW, and she's going to be a big star. And she's very talented, very athletic. I think she comes from either cheerleader or gymnastics background, so she's got it. And Kip Sabian, I'm sure, helps her along. This match is one of the matches I was actually looking forward to because I knew it was going to be quality, and I wasn't disappointed. I was glued to it, and I love the women's wrestling. I mean, in AEW from the beginning, it's been a little slow, but I think it's starting
picking
to
up steam.
Yeah, it's starting to show its potential, and this brings me back to a point that I continually make with you, Wayne, is that picking Rio as the first champion was a mistake. you have a woman like Sheeta, and I get that she couldn't be there from the beginning, but Sheeta's a wrestler. You know, she has all the factors, and she's doing a hell of a job trying to learn English. You know, she's constantly getting better at the language. So I have 100%. She should be the number one contender. I predicted she was going to win it this week, and I was right. I think you guys even agreed with me last week. And this is the route they need to go. This is the perfect person to go against Nyla Rose.
What I liked about it is you're establishing another heel with Britt Baker. I think she has been, out of all the women, I think besides Nyla Rose, has been the most dominant personality heel that they've had. The problem is her in-ring work is still struggling a little bit. She still shows that she needs a little bit more in-ring work at this point, but otherwise, I thought it was, like you guys said, it was a great match. It was plenty of action. And the women division AEW has been a struggle from the start, like Em is saying. They've had a couple of different start-stops, obviously, with Brandy and Awesome Kong.
And nobody knew who they were.
Yeah. Like, so the whole entire thing, I feel like they needed to find a way to get it on path, and now they got it on path. And I think they're going in the right way. And again, I think they want to wait till we get back to normal before they make a real title change, but I think this is the right step. And I think Stradliner needs a reboost. I know she was out for a little while with the quarantine. I think they're going to wait for the crowd to get back for her to give her that little bit of a push. And Baker's
and you know what? She just needs to show up. She just needs to show up and win some matches.
Exactly, because she's been gone for so long that she's lost that momentum that she had.
And not everybody watches AEW Dark, so I don't know if she's been showing up there. I know I haven't had the time to watch Dark, so I'm not too sure if she's appeared on those shows, but she just needs to be there and win some matches.
Mm-hmm. And Baker just needs to keep being a heel, and I wouldn't even be against her. And I know this kills Wayne for me to say this, but if she's not in the ring, it wouldn't hurt her if she became a mouthpiece for someone else.
No, see, I don't agree with that. But go ahead.
Maybe in a future time frame, I can see that.
If she's at the tandem with someone where she can still wrestle but also be a mouthpiece for someone who needs it, then that's fine. Because she's excellent on the microphone. Her role model thing is great. I think it's perfect, and she can be in the ring a little bit, but she needs to work her craft a little bit more because she was the sloppy one of the four in the ring tonight.
Well, I mean, she's the one I believe that has the least amount of experience in that four-way. I mean, I think she's had 3 years in the business, so she's relatively young, and she does have time. She looks green. And I think we've pointed that out in the first shows that they had, the first pay-per-views during the summer. She doesn't look like she knows, and especially she's coming from an independent scene where there were no TVs. Now you're playing to the camera. It's a whole different ball game. So I'm pretty sure she still has that in front of her mind, that I have to do this in front of the camera. Eventually, it becomes second nature. But right now she's struggling a little bit. But I see a lot of potential, and I can tell Tony Khan has big plans for her. She was the first one signed to an AEW contract, the first female.
Yep.
So he sees it; it's there, and we just have to wait for it to marinate and come through. And I have a lot of hope and a lot of I see it. Like I don't even have the word. You know,
you have hope. You have hope.
By the way, how about Nyla Rose with that shot to the head with the kendo stick to Sheeta's head?
I popped it. Yeah, I popped.
I liked it. I liked it.
She's like
heel heat. I was not too happy at the moment with that.
Not that a girl like that should have to carry a kendo stick to make an impact, but so
she took Sheeta's kendo stick because she don't the kendo stick, because she's like, yeah, you lost this, whap, right in the head. I could dig that.
That's how when people walk into level 1 games, if M doesn't like it, he hits him over the head with a kendo stick.
Silly question, whap, right over the head with a kendo stick.
So moving on, we had Omega and Hardy versus Santina and Ortiz of the Inner Circle. But before we go in depth about Matt Hardy, he shows up again later on. We'll talk about that part of it later on. But regarding the match, we see Hardy and Omega with the win tonight. Great showing by Santina and Ortiz.
Santana man.
Great showing by these guys.
No, proud and powerful, man. They're from New York, Puerto
From
Rico.
New York, representing.
Yeah, so I'm happy. You have MJF.
I
I'm proud and powerful.
enjoyed it.
No, they're a great team, man. I saw the
Listen. Hold on 1 second. Technically, Santina and Ortiz are from Queens, if I'm not mistaken, or was it Brooklyn?
I don't know where they're originally from. I believe they're from Brooklyn, but
So that's part of Long Island.
it's not part of Long Island.
So that I have MGF, Santina, and Ortiz.
No. You have MJF. I'm from New York City.
Okay, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
Actually,
you're a lot closer.
Actually, Santino is from Italy. Santana is from New York.
Yeah, and he lives in the Bronx, right here.
Well, what a good show! What a good showing by these guys.
Yeah,
they got a good rub tonight in losing fashion, but they shined a lot. I really enjoyed watching those two guys tonight.
Those two guys have always been good, you can ask Randy when they showed up to AEW. I popped hard for them, and the whole Puerto Rican pride thing that always touches a good nerve in my being. Like what was one of the first T-shirts I got? Proud and powerful. Randy made fun of me for it. He's like, "Oh, you got that one." But no, the team is great.
No. My
Yes.
My favorite was we were watching the tag team battle royal. I'm like your boys are hanging outside there. No, they're not.
Yeah,
no, they're not. They're just hanging outside.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're not.
Listen, proud and powerful. It took a little while, I think, for them to find their footing. Because when they first came in and having them part of the inner circle, it was like one of these things are not like the other. It didn't look like they fully fit, but now after seeing the bubbly bunch stuff and everything else like that, I think they're perfect. I think they're starting to find their mark in the tag team division and actually deserve a shot with a run with the belts. And I think that will be the team right when they have the split between Page and Omega. I think Proud and Powerful is going to be the team that picks up the pieces and take the belts.
I can see it. I think you need a heel team to take the belts off.
And I fully see them doing it. I mean, like I was saying, Proud and Powerful are very, very, very athletic, very they have the it factor that a lot of promoters look for. They're dastardly. They have that heel, like you said. They stood outside of the ring for the whole battle royal, and in this instance, they battered, they scratched, they do whatever they have. Me personally, I like Santana better than Ortiz, but they're a great tag team. I've seen them in the independent scene at HOG. They fought. Who'd they fight when I saw them? I think they fought the. I honestly don't remember now that I think about it. They just fought two guys there, and that was their last showing in the independents before they went to AEW. And they've been fantastic this whole time, and I thought that they fit in very well with what Jericho was trying to do with the Inner Circle from the beginning. And this match, they showed it again. You got Kenny Omega and Matt Hardy there, and two veterans, and they got, like you said, they got the rub in a losing fashion, but again, very good match, and it kept you engaged. So that's all you can ask for a losing effort.
Hardy gets the win with a DDT here. We see Sammy Guevara come out with the neck brace tonight. I thought that was pretty amusing. Sammy Guevara is becoming one of my favorites. I'm not gonna lie, just little nuances of things that he does is pretty cool. The neck brace, joking around singing with Chris Jericho's theme song. Just these little things with him running away last week like a chicken heel. Just little things.
The signs.
Great.
The signs, yeah.
It's great. Moving on, we had Chris Jericho versus Pineapple Pete. Let me tell you, Pineapple Pete, he was getting a major rub there. The first minute and a half, he had all the offense. And Tony Schiavone was playing it up like he's going to spoil the match for Chris Jericho and get an upset win until Pineapple Pete runs into the Judas effect. Chris Jericho. This match was about 2 minutes. So what did you guys think of this?
was about 2
This is
minutes
exactly,
too long.
no, I don't agree.
No,
This
I
is exactly,
enjoyed all 2 minutes of it.
exactly. Let him get the rub. Let him become an indie star. This is the guy who took it to Jericho for 2 minutes. You know, he can use that to get a job anywhere. Jericho really played it up. The fact of the matter, Jericho made up the whole Pineapple Pete for him because his name is I can't even remember his name because
Oh, we call him
I can't. I just know him as Pineapple Pete. He's got the pineapple shirt. I just know him
exactly.
as that.
I think he said he was his other persona for 16 years, and here he comes. We all know who Pineapple Pete is. We don't know that other guy, and it's
No, we
all
don't.
thanks to Jericho constantly mentioning Pineapple Pete. And did you hear where he got the whole Pineapple Pete thing from?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jericho mentioned on one of his shows that it was a place they used to eat at every week after wrestling. He would go to Pineapple Pete's. So when he saw the shirt, he just Pineapple Pete. And he kept mentioning it, and he kept telling him like, "Yeah, you got to run with it, man. Wear that shirt. You're Pineapple Pete." And that's what
so
he did.
awesome.
I mean, he came out to the whole entrance. You saw the video. They made a video of a pineapple
They
rolling
had on the
around.
front, yeah.
Yeah,
What I think was a selling thing too, and M knows I always look at these little things and they stick with me. But like Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross made you actually believe that Pineapple Pete was going to have a shot here.
that's right.
I haven't felt that way in years when you're sitting there saying, Tony Schiavone goes, "Look at this, Pineapple Pete's going to do it," and you're sitting there going, "Oh my god, this guy's got a shot." Never mind, Judas Effect, but like,
Yeah, out of nowhere.
I didn't
Exactly.
know where's the Judas Effect.
Yeah, that was what it should have been. You know, you
Now check this out. We need to zero in on the more important Jericho stuff that took place tonight.
Oh, definitely.
The promo announced that they're doing a stadium stampede match, and Jericho's building it up that it's going to be an 80,000 seat stadium. I'm assuming where the Jacksonville Jaguars play. I think that's a good assumption. And then we get Vanguard. Vanguard shows up. He's been missing for about 3 weeks or so on behalf of the Elite and accepted the challenge by the Elite. And then he gets taken out. He gets taken out after he accepts the challenge by the sixth member of the Inner Circle. Now we know him as Floyd. So all I have to say about this before you guys' thoughts is rest in peace, Vanguard.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Vanguard. It was great knowing you, man.
This whole promo with Jericho talking to Vanguard is absolutely one of my favorites.
Release the hounds.
Yeah, that's all I was thinking the whole time. I mean, Vanguard comes with the little shirt. I was like, he brought it back. You know, it's a throwback to that. So I thought it was like really cool, man. And the simple fact that we're watching Jericho again, cutting a promo on a little robot
Drone,
yeah, little robotic drone, and we're here enjoying it. I mean, we're really buying into the fact that he's talking to this drone. That's how he's a master of getting you to suspend your belief. It's ludicrous that he's sitting there talking to this little drone in the air with a little t-shirt. He takes the t-shirt back. He's like, "Give me that." So it's Jericho, man.
let me tell you something. You guys may agree with me. When this is all said and done, and Jericho's run in AEW as an in-ring competitor, because he ain't going nowhere. We know that. Chris Jericho is going to go down as one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah,
possibly on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling.
He's put himself there. He's supplanted a lot of people. He's one of the best, man, and he's pushing what? How old is he, Randy? I forget.
He's 47. 47.
47. So he's pushing 50.
Yeah.
And he's showing us things that we've forgotten about. This is what wrestling used to be. And he's reminding us every single time he's on TV. This is the magic of wrestling.
The one thing too that I really enjoyed about this whole thing was the simple fact of Jericho was so intense about it.
Yeah.
And B, I'm laughing because he wants to do this thing in an 80,000 seat stadium. It's gonna be the first time that some of these seats are actually filled because the Jaguars don't fill up that stadium. But
they might draw more than the Jaguars.
Look, the funny thing is, they wanted to do Blood and Guts, another version of War Games, and we were supposed to be there for that. And they said we're going to save it for another time. I think what they need to do is that they want to do this now because they want to do a blow off of that feud so they can start moving on. When's it going to get to a point when you either add more to the inner circle or maybe start having maybe Sammy peel off or maybe those guys turn on Jericho because Jericho's so over with the crowd. You have the whole crowd singing his theme music to the ring, which is unheard of a heel before. So you have to start getting this thing sort of blown off a little bit and go into the next phase of it. The problem is you don't know when you're going to get all your guys back. You don't know when Paige is coming back. You don't know when the Bucks are coming back.
Exactly.
You don't know.
You don't know when the fans are coming back.
You don't know when the fans are coming back.
Get that cage match.
You don't know when you're going to get these other guys who were released from WWE who they have interest in are going to come in. So you don't know that aspect. Which one is that?
Revival. Well, the Revolt.
No. They're in. They're already in. We're just waiting for that.
They're just waiting.
I'm waiting to see if Rowan comes in to be with Harper. That's gonna be.
Hey, let me tell you something. I mean, this could be part of our preview show that we do next week. But the Revolt could essentially show up next weekend.
Mm-hmm. That's where that's what I'm thinking.
Possible.
That's where Ortiz and Santana came in during the segment with the Young Bucks. Remember, they came out with the president's masks. So I fully see that as a big.
But like Randy said earlier, AEW may be holding back some punches for when the fans do come back to the arena. So
yeah, but I don't think that's
going to be hit or miss. But I think the Revolt shows up next weekend.
That's where my money is. I see them, and I think that's what they want people to think too. They put the teaser in being the elite, put it into the fans' minds. Make them buy the pay-per-view. This is how you're going to make your money. We want to see the Revolt come out. And they were on Jericho's podcast the other day. It's like, come on.
And they were great. And they literally were great.
Southern guys. Who would have thought, right? Fighting the stereotypes.
Main event. Brody Lee versus Christopher Daniels. And let me tell you, Christopher Daniels worked a pretty good match. Probably one of his best ones in a little while, actually.
Yeah.
Brody Lee, not a whole lot to talk about here, but Brody Lee defeats Christopher Daniel, winning with the finishing move of the discus lariat. Daniel sold that pretty well. And then out comes Jon Moxley. Moxley beating up one of the Dark Order members on the way to ringside. And Brody Lee is just feeding each Dark member to, I believe it was two of them, to Jon Moxley, and him getting his shots in. And then we see Brody Lee go off kidnapping. I shouldn't say kidnapping. He kind of did that last week, but taking the AEW belt, he didn't give it back. So he kind of has that belt hostage. So this is where Dean Ambrose's frustration is coming from. What did you guys think of this?
Moxley.
WWE's going to sue you right now. Get the lawyers on the phone.
No, but Randy, there's one thing that I need you to say because you say it all the time. Mr. Brody Lee is
the exalted one.
No. He is the
self-proclaimed AEW champion.
I'm surprised, Randy. I'm surprised you didn't catch that.
Oh, because M is the self-proclaimed champion all the time, and M's reaction is, "I'm not self-proclaimed anything, man. I beat everybody fair and square."
Exactly, but I thought you would get a kick out of that. He's
I'm so sorry. I missed my cue.
Yeah, he's called the self-proclaimed champion.
Listen, I think it's a little soon for a title change here.
Yeah, no,
I don't think so.
I am noticing Brody Lee's starting to shine a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that definitely. But you know what the thing is, though? This is, again, AEW making chicken salad out of chicken you-know-what. Yeah. Because when you originally looked at the Dark Order and you said this Exalted One, who they started doing way before, and like months and months and months ago, they're saying there's an Exalted One and the Dark Order is going to come and take over everything. And, Evil Uno was leading the charge with all this. They were able to take a WWE cast-off like Harper and put him into this role, and now he's more over than he ever has, and he might be one of the top heels in the company. So I think this is a credit to what input by the wrestler has, and also a good management team who understands that it's wrestling, it's not entertainment, and this is what the crowd wants to see. So I think this is the right move by putting him with Moxley, because it's also, like we said last week, a short-term little feud here, being able to put something together with two guys who already have chemistry, who have already worked together, and they know they can tear the house down and have a good match.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's going to be a really good brouhaha next week.
Yeah. They're going to hit each other hard, and that's what I'm
Oh,
looking
yeah.
at. The physicality of that match is what.
And they don't have to worry about working a WWE style.
Exactly. I think we all can applaud that.
That wraps up the AEW Dynamite talk part of our show tonight. There's a couple things we got to touch on. We may have missed out on a couple opportunities the past show or two to talk about. But first things first, Alberto Del Rio finds himself in jail. So I think it's safe to say that the rumored talks of him going to WWE is probably squashed. Not happening anytime soon. WWE doesn't want any issues. They don't want problems. And every time Del Rio's actually shot himself in the foot many times from him getting that push to a title run, a good title reign, and being featured as one of the main guys. He has shot himself in the foot many times. I can't believe it.
I honestly was never a fan of Del Rio, whether he was
he had a little charisma and he worked some good matches. He wasn't vanilla like Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, he wasn't vanilla. He wasn't that vanilla because
he's still pretty charisma and character to him that was appealing for the wrestling fan.
You know what? He's the Spanish version of vanilla, vanilla. That's what he is. All right, because he's still very bland. I'm not sure how he was a star in Mexico because I just never saw it. He was very full of himself. I think the most over thing that he had was Ricardo Rodriguez. I enjoyed when he would bring him out, but besides that, I've never enjoyed his matches, never enjoyed his promos. He was just very full of himself. El Patron, he just wasn't that for me. It's like he just didn't have it, in my opinion. And he was, God, how much drama can you get into? It's like Paige slapping people at work, now sexual assault and battery. Jeez.
Like I never
lists.
I can't remember a match, and M knows that like he could tell me a wrestler, and I'm like, I really liked when he did this. Del Rio is just a guy who I just never felt like had a great match with anybody in WWE, and usually an injury would stop his momentum. I remember he had gotten hurt during one of the runs, and it was actually one of the Royal Rumbles where they all of a sudden played his music. Then Rodrigo, like you said, he came out in like the old beat up car, and that was like the best thing about Del Rio was that. Yeah, so I don't think there's anything special about him, and I think he had his cup of coffee with WWE. I look at him as like a guy like Mr. Kennedy, who had a little cup of coffee, had a little fame, but then he shot himself in the foot and he got shown the door. And that's the way I look at Del Rio. Not much special. You can get another one like him somewhere else.
Oh, definitely. And one of the things that Del Rio, it's like he tried to be face, he tried to be heel, and nothing ever seemed to land. I mean, one of the things that really made me angry, because I'm not a Cena fan, and when he had his run as the United States champion, I actually enjoyed it. You know, the championship was defended weekly, and there were good matches. And then here comes Del Rio and destroys that. And it's like, so I couldn't deal with Del. I really couldn't.
And on a side note with that, there was two guys who made those secondary titles mean something. It was Cena, and it was actually The Miz with the Intercontinental belt. Just a quick side note.
We can probably maybe state a case for Seth Rollins too when he was holding it 2 belts at one time. Maybe.
He destroyed the man.
We have comments. Carlos Garcia is watching with us. He says Carlos is buying the pay-per-view. Tag me in. Somehow, some way, I'm watching the pay-per-view. So who knows? Maybe we could set up a social distancing watch party for the AEW pay per view or something. But this is a good pay per view that I'm invested in for sure. I think this is going to be a really good one. I think this is the second pay per view of the new year.
Second pay per view.
Yeah. Okay, so the storytelling that we've seen since the last pay per view, and this one has been the best couple months of storytelling in AEW that I've seen since it started over a year ago.
Oh yeah, they really stuck.
So that's why I'm excited about it. The storytelling has been great, and we're gonna get good wrestling. The first couple months of AEW, I was like, I don't know. I was kind of checked out, and NXT was really doing that much better. But now it's kind of flipped a little bit.
I remember you were really big into NXT, and me and Randy would be at the store watching AEW, and we're like, he's not watching AEW. Like, how can he not be watching AEW?
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing now with NXT is they are now bringing guys back from the main roster to try and help. Which was a huge mistake. Like Finn Balor right now, I feel like he's a guy who's just waiting out his contract. Just imagine a guy like Finn Balor in AEW. Oh my God.
I know. Awesome.
Prince, baby.
Yeah. Listen, M may get his fantasy dream of a reunion of the Bullet Club of some type.
No. I would lose.
We forgot to mention
check his shorts on that one.
We forgot to mention Gallows and Anderson. That could be a possibility.
That's what I'm saying. You know? Put him with Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, Bullet Club, man. Oh,
Carlos gave us a thumbs up. Carlos, we love you, man. We miss you.
Orange Cassidy.
We'll be all in the same room watching AEW, and Orange Cassidy is definitely one of my favorites right now. But getting back to my point, it was a little rough to watch the first couple months, and especially on that same day where they had the NXT UK show for 3 hours, followed by a 5-hour AEW show, which I did not think they were ready to do a 5-hour show. They had no business doing 5 hours at that point. Now we'll see, but that was just a long day. I was a little checked out a little bit of that pay-per-view. It was a long day watching wrestling from 3 o'clock to 11:30. It was just long. Yeah. Good show, and then Jim Ross was just putting me to sleep. It was just not good. It wasn't good.
Sacrifice.
He's growing into the role that he's in now.
Yes.
Like in the very beginning, even I had a problem listening to him.
Yeah, you were yelling at me. You're yelling at me saying Jim Ross doesn't have it anymore.
I mean, he hadn't done it for so long, and remember, he went from doing this every single week, probably what was it, twice a week at one point, and then it was just like, oh, I'm not doing it anymore. Twice a year. So of course he was going to get rusty, and he was a little like cranky at times. And they were like, he was contentious, and with his other commentators. But I think they've grown into it. They've gotten comfortable. There were definitely growing pains, which we expected from the very beginning. We always said they have to find their footing. They have to find what they are, who they are. And I think they've gotten that this year. And some of the things that we said about the Dark Order, which is interesting because they've always had big plans for them. But Marty Scurll was supposed to take over as the Exalted One. We didn't get that. He re-signed with Ring of Honor, and they had to call an audible. And it's just perfect timing that at the time Luke Harper, who is Brody Lee now, was available. So that's what they did, and it's working out. And I think that he fits that character better, and that whole Dark Order group. I see it better in Brody's hands than in Marty Scurll's.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that.
Our last topic of the night I want to hit on. I know it's not AEW related, but we must talk about Becky Lynch.
The man gets pregnant,
sending shockwaves through the wrestling world. with her announcement, news started leaking throughout the day on Monday gradually as the show was started. I believe the cat was let out of the bag for the most part. Ringside News, you can you can give them the credit for that leaking that news. But Becky Lynch comes out. And she comes out with the briefcase, which I thought was a little weird. You would think Asuka would be coming out with this. So I guess I'm thinking Becky Lynch just hijacked it, and put the championship belt in there after talking to the higher ups and deciding to give the belt for Asuka. They had probably the way the storyline is, they decided on this days before Money in the Bank, but the women apparently never knew it until Asuka comes out to grab her briefcase. That's why she was pretty much flipping out. She wants her briefcase, and then Becky pumps the brakes on her and listen, you won much more than the Money in the Bank. Opens up the case, and then we see the women's championship, and Becky tells Asuka, "You are the women's champion, and you can go be a warrior while I'm about to be a mother." And let me tell you something: if your eyes weren't tear jerked during that segment, you have no heart.
I have no heart.
Well, you probably weren't watching.
I wasn't watching.
I was starting to get there were no waterworks. I was starting to get a little emotional though, like in a happy way, because I knew there was realism there. And then now you have wrestling fans talking about this could be a work. Like, no, IWC, you should be ashamed of yourselves if that's what you believe. But Asuka very well could have been very surprised. She had it off really well. She probably did not even know until that very moment.
Listen, look, I was pissed. But go ahead, Randy. I'll let you talk first.
Look, I think if there's been any WWE star that's been overexposed and commercialized anymore, it had to be Becky Lynch. The man. When she
sees something good, they like to go along with it and overexpose it until it's played out. That's how they do it.
Right. But when she turned heel against Charlotte Flair a couple of years ago, that's the thing. I remember talking to Road Dogg like when he was talking about it on Twitter, and he private messaged me, and I said, like, yeah, I mean, like, that sort of backfired. He's like, yeah, that wasn't the story that we were telling. We were trying to make Charlotte Flair we wanted sympathy for Charlotte. I'm like, that's not how you do that. He's like, yeah, we learned that the hard way. I'm like, yeah, because you don't say you earn a shot and then put Charlotte in there, let her win it, and not expect Becky to be pissed, because the crowd was pissed too. They were pissed for her. And then to Becky's credit, she was able to turn that whole thing into a great run, but then they overdid it and they watered it down to a point where I remember we were at M Store for WrestleMania in the triple threat match, and we were just sitting there going, like, what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what's going to happen.
The way it just wasn't monumental.
Ray Charles saw that happening. That's how bad it was.
I mean, but listen, Becky Lynch was over. She was a mega star. And then it started fizzling out into WrestleMania season because the chase was over.
You know what it was? It was the way they did it. All right, they overcomplicated something that was simple, that we were eating up the whole time. Becky's sitting there, she's talking trash to Ronda. We're eating it up. They're going at it on Twitter. They're going at it in the ring. It's constant. It's great. And then they're like,
police cars. Break the windows.
Well, no, that's when it started going too far.
That was a great backstage segment, though. I'm not gonna lie. That was whoever wrote that was phenomenal.
What happened after that? Nothing. All they started doing was jabbering. You gave us that too early in that storyline. And then you go, you know what would be great?
Vince McMahon was getting involved, and it was becoming a little oversaturated.
And that's the problem. The moment that they oversaturated, and then they go, oh my God, you know what else would be a great thing to put into this? Let's put in the other title. How do we put in the other title?
I remember that.
We'll put her in the match. And it's like, what in the hell? You took everything we were eating and you oversalted it. That's all you did. Yeah, you took it and And you were like, I'm gonna take the top off of this salt, and I'm just gonna pour the whole thing on the steak, and screw you, eat it. And it's like, nah, man, you ruined the steak. This is exactly what they did. And
I was pissed that Charlotte was inserted in that match. I think we would have seen a better match at 35 with just Becky and Ronda.
Exactly. And then we have.
I think Ronda was hurt or somebody was hurt.
Maybe, but at the end of the day, I think the simplicity of it was what we were all looking for. We wanted this blow off. We knew it was going to be a blow off. Don't overcomplicate it. And that's what they did. And then the match was just sloppy. And the ending of the match, I mean, the first women's main event, and you don't even pin her shoulders to the ground? Are you kidding me? And then and that was the death knell, in my opinion. This is where it all started going downhill, because next time she's against Charlotte and what was her name? The Southern Belle?
Oh, Lacey Evans. Yeah.
Lacey Evans. And Lacey Evans had just gotten there. And then we went through this whole mediocre stuff. They put her with her boyfriend. That really like sapped, because Rollins was talking a lot of smack online. A lot of people were angry at him. He was talking smack to other wrestlers that are respected. Guys like Will Ospreay. It's like, you're not going to tell him that he's not one of the greatest in the world right now. He is, and he's looking bad. And then you pair her up with him, and then it just went downhill, man. I haven't seen anything of 2019 after she won that belt that was memorable. And it was just like, she was in your face. I'm the man. I'm the man. I'm the man. And it's like, all right, man, I don't care anymore. Just lose the title. And then she doesn't lose it.
And not only that, and now I'm sorry, but not only that, but she made a big stink saying, "I'm not going to be on Total Divas. I'm not going to be one of these girls. I'm not going to be the glamour girl. I just want to fight." And meanwhile, she's now on the walkways of ESPN, and now she's doing the cover magazines. So exactly. my thing is, look, I'm happy for her and Seth. I'm glad to go up, have a baby, and everything else like that.
They've been busy quarantining.
Okay, well, listen, at the end of the day now, as far as her day
condom, like, what the hell?
Well, listen, as far as her day job is concerned, listen, there's a lot of talent in that WWE women's pool, but sadly, a lot of that talent right now is knocking out of the park in NXT, not on the main roster. The roster they have, the women's roster they have on the main roster right now is stale. It's stale, and they are not utilizing the right people.
Randy, here's one thing that I've told you a million times, and this was the biggest mistake that they made, was bringing Ronda in to destroy every single woman on that roster.
I agree with you 110%.
Finally, you have somebody knock Ronda off, but she's already destroyed all of these women in 2 minutes or less. How are they going to look as a credible threat to the next champion? So finally, you have somebody like Asuka, and she doesn't win. Okay, fine. And then you bring up Shayna Baszler. She was NXT champion for more than a year, I believe, and she looked like a credible threat. She destroyed everybody the same way that Ronda did in the what was it, Elimination Chamber. We go, all right, Becky's losing it to her. Becky retains, and then comes out the next month and goes, oh yeah, did I mention I'm pregnant? Here's the title. That was a disservice to all the women there. I get it. She's pregnant. That's awesome for her. But business-wise, this sucks. And we have to remember, the one person that owns WWE is Vince. And Vince is a jerk at heart. He's not going to be very PC. And do you think that we will see another women's main event? No, he's going to be like, well, see, this is why you don't give it. And again, I have to make sure that this is not my opinion. But let's face it. Vince is a jerk, and I'm sure in my heart of hearts he's going to sit there and blame all women for this mishap. Oh, she had to give up the belt, and we had all these plans. That's how I see this playing out, and I think all the women are going to pay for this. And I thought that it's great that you're having a kid, you want to be a mother. I applaud you. Do what you do. It's your life. It's your body. It's your choices. But professional wrestling wise, I think it was like the worst thing to do, especially since the time for you to drop that belt was last month at WrestleMania, and they had you retain it just so you can give. I will say that one more time. Give the title to Asuka. I don't care how real that moment was. We didn't need to see it.
Well, to play devil's advocate, Becky probably found out 2 weeks ago, for all we know.
Exactly, but it still put a black eye. All right.
So Cena should have won either way.
Exactly.
It was Becky's time to lose the title right then and there.
Exactly. And on top of that, she's pregnant. Asuka won the Money in the Bank. All right, I come out. I'm pregnant. This is my announcement. I relinquish the title. I can't wrestle. Bravo. Have a tournament. Next pay-per-view, crown a champion. If you want Asuka to cash in her Money in the Bank, then do it. But to sit there and go, you know what? I give you my title. I lost my goddamn mind. I'm sorry. This is wrestling. This is what we pay to see. This is what we want to see. We want to see people compete for titles and stuff like that. You don't just give your title to someone.
Well, apparently the storytelling that they're doing was the title was on the line, but the ladies didn't know it.
Then it's lazy storytelling. Maybe they found out that day. They're like, oh yeah, well, just give her the title. Are you kidding me?
I mean, I think the tournament route would have been good that you had just mentioned that, just because it adds more meaningful matches to the shows.
Because you have to build up these people. They have been destroyed by Asuka. I mean, not Asuka. They've been destroyed by Rousey for so long. They've been destroyed by Becky. Let them all reestablish themselves. Give them a chance. But to give the title to Asuka after she wins Money in her Bank is a disservice. So the whole women's division.
And not only that, but also have Asuka have an undefeated streak in NXT, have it lost to Charlotte at WrestleMania, and then bury her and put her in a tag team, and also loses her credibility because she has not done anything. Asuka has not done anything.
Well, she's been a little bit busier the past couple of weeks, and she's been picking up momentum too.
I get it, but this thing had me so hot on Monday. I spoke to my son, and I think he was like one of the few people that agreed with me, because everybody was so caught up in the emotion that she was going to be a mother. But you know me, I care about wrestling. I care about the business. I'm not a Jim Cornette. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not. Like, protect your coworkers. Think about them. And I thought that was real selfish. I mean, it's great that she's going to be a mother. Hey, even if it was a mistake, more power to you. You wanted to keep the baby, cool, man. That's no problem. But that's lazy to be like, oh, I give you my title.
Two more things. The first thing is, do we see Becky Lynch at WrestleMania 37?
I don't think so.
Which is her due date is around November, which still leaves about 5, maybe 6 months to get back in ring shape.
I'm going to vote no, because having a baby is tough.
It's debatable. We saw Maurice do it, and she did it in less time. She did it in 5 months, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. But we'll see. It's definitely changed her life for sure. I don't know if we're going to see her in a full-time capacity again, or just maybe more like a year and a half from now or something, once she gets settled into motherhood. One other key note before we close out, just announced today, Sami Zayn is no longer the Intercontinental Champion, as for whatever reason, more than likely COVID-19, he cannot defend the IC title anymore, which has basically become meaningless the past several months now. An IC Intercontinental title tournament will be again on Friday night in SmackDown, which maybe this is a little shot in the arm that SmackDown needs for meaningful matches, because lately there's been nothing meaningful on SmackDown. It's actually been the last 2 SmackDowns are sitting on my DVR. I haven't even touched it. I'm like checked out on that, to be honest. Raw has been a decent show, and thanks to Paul Heyman, but SmackDown, not so much.
I'm telling you, what did you just say?
Poor Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn is giving up his title.
Yeah,
and they're gonna have gasp. It's tournament.
It's relinquished. Yeah,
he's relinquishing his title.
I guess they stripped him of it.
He's not giving it to Otis. We didn't see him come out and tearfully go, you know what? I'm going to stay home because of COVID. So here's the title. You won it. We were just messing with you. It wasn't for the contract. It was actually for this belt. It boggles my mind. Like really, like my hairs are standing up on the back of my neck. It makes me so angry. It's like, what just happened? It's the same scenario.
I think also there's a little bit of the Sami Zayn, like, let me out of here type of mentality. You know, the rule, like the whole, if you want your release, you can leave. Sammy's been miserable there for a long time. And both him and Kevin Owens are looking for a reason to get out of that company.
Ooh, oh my goodness! If
imagine those two in AEW,
those, oh my gosh!
And they couldn't even go back to Ring of Honor. They were there for.
Why did they want to go back there?
From what I'm hearing, Ring of Honor is actually spending a lot of money. They're owned by Sinclair, I believe, and they're actually spending money on their product. They had big plans for this year, but Fires had other plans. So
give me Kenny Omega versus Kevin Steen any day of the week, twice on Sunday. I am watching, my friend.
That would be awesome. But anyway, there is a bunch of other stuff that went on this week, especially with Money in the Bank. We won't get into it. If you guys want to go back and watch, you can catch it on our Deep Six Pro Wrestling Podcast. Videos are also posted up on our Deep Six Pro Wrestling Podcast YouTube channel. Also, you can find our YouTube link on backsportspage.com. We give a special thanks to you, Randy, while we have you on here. Shout out.
Thank you very much.
That. For those who can't watch or miss a bunch of stuff, because sometimes I don't have that time to sit there an hour through the day and watch a video, you can catch us on our Deep Six Pro Wrestling Podcast on Google Play, iTunes, and Spotify. M and Randy, final thoughts.
This week was good. I mean, it's a good build to the pay-per-view that we're going to get next Saturday. I'm excited. My wallet isn't, because I'll probably be spending $60 on this pay-per-view.
Nope, I'm going half with you, my friend. I am going half with you.
So normally we watch at the store all together, and that's another downer. But I'm looking forward to the matches, and they're always quality matches, and the pay-per-views have always been good. I've always enjoyed them. So even if the product wasn't as good as it is now, I would still plunk the $60 to watch it. But I'm happy with the direction everything's going, and I'm really excited to watch it.
We got a comment. Becky Lynch lost her smile. Yeah. Oh man, this could go in so many directions, but anyhow, go on, Randy.
Not much else to say, but AEW keeps me wanting to come back for more, and they're not trying to fit stuff in. So when you have to cut stuff out, sometimes it makes a better show. And I gotta tell you, AEW makes me want to keep coming back for more. Makes you want to watch, and it's still good enough for makes you want to go back and watch again. So when you have that type of feeling watching wrestling, it's fun, and we haven't had that feeling for a long time.
So long. I feel like a teenager again. Every week, I run home to catch Dynamite. Like we used to watch it at the store, and every week it was like, oh my God, are you ready for Dynamite? This is so exciting. Is Hangman Page going to turn today? We're always talking about it. We're always intrigued by what the possibilities are going to bring, and that's how you do these shows. That wrestling has always been magical. It always takes us to places where we forget real life for a little bit, and we look forward to these 2 hours weekly. And when you look down at the time and you're like, it's 9:40 already. It's like, oh, come on, man. I still want more. And that's how you're supposed to leave them, wanting more. And that's what keeps us coming back weekly.
Absolutely. AEW has been hitting a home run with leaving the wrestling fans wanting more each and every single week. I enjoy Wednesdays on both sides. I just can't watch two promotions at one time, but right now I prefer watching AEW. They've been hitting a home run.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, this was a very busy week in wrestling, which should slow down for a few days until we have our AEW Go Home show, and then the pay-per-view couple days after that. So we're gonna have another busy couple days with our Deep Six Pro Wrestling podcast, which I'm totally excited about. But in the meantime, Randy, thank you guys so much for hopping on once again for our midweek mashup. For those watching and listening, we will be back with you Monday night live on the YouTube channel, Facebook page. If you don't follow, it's Deep Six Pro Wrestling Podcast. You can find our wrestling Facebook page there to catch us live, or wait for the audio to come out within a day or two after that. But guys, thank you so much again, those who are watching, and you all have an awesome night.
Thank you so much, Wayne.
Peace.